Hey there, it's Lisa from Kitchen Witch Boutique on this beautiful Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. I was moved by this gorgeous weather we're having in Hatfield. Anyway, it's about 70. To sit outside today, and be amongst some of my favorite people. This is the sweet gum tree. He's starting to, not really leaves yet, but he's definitely got his little burrs. He's one of my favorite. This is a sweet gum pod. And like witches love these because these are for protection, okay? They're called witches burrs or like witches balls, which witches balls, okay? But as you notice, like they are all over here, all around. And it kind of brought me to a place where there's something that I've been wanting to speak about, and it's been a big issue in my life as well as in other people's life, especially when we're dealing with spiritual growth, which, I'm always talking about spiritual growth, but there's a lot of, with COVID and the current crisis, the fact that we may or may not be going into recession. I hope not. The fact is people are they're acting like animals these days. Okay. And good friend of mine was attacked last night. He was assaulted. And one of the things that has occurred to me and that I've spoken of before is that when you're dealing with people, okay, people get into situations like this. I mean, the fingers come out, the blame comes out. Oh, well, I'm justified in doing this because of this. I'm justified in doing that, etc. Sorry, I have to move because the sun's right in my face. But the problem is that when it comes down to it, you can't really change people. Like you can fight, you can say, this is what's going on, etc. But the fact comes down to is that you can't change people. And Papa Getty, love of my life, love him. Like that's just love him. He just said, there's an old saying, don't borrow trouble. Okay, so there's a lot of situations that are going on right now, and the problem is that the longer that you point the finger at people and say, it's not fair, they did this, the more stuck you're going to be. And it's understandable because it's frustrating. I mean, as it was, my friend, called the police did not come. He waited, he called several times, I called, nothing. And, part of the issue, of course, is that, our poor law enforcement officers, like they're really struggling too because they've lost so many, police officers and all of that, and military have been sick, like they've, due to COVID or due to all kinds of things. And everybody's under tremendous stress. But here's the deal. You can't change people. You can only change yourself. One of the most freeing things that I learned, as a spiritual worker and as someone who's, let's face it, I dedicated my life to God, which still makes me laugh, but I love him. Her. I love she, he. You get what I'm saying. But you can continue to point the fingers and all of that, but when you truly own your shit, and this is what I'm asking from you, from my clients as a spiritual worker, this is what I'm asking of people because I have to do it and so should everybody else. When you own your shit and you say to spirit or to yourself, what is the best way for me to handle this situation? Instead of reacting with ego, with, they're not going to get away with this. I'm cracking up. This car just drove by and I swear to God, the front plate just said pure LOA, pure Loa, like the voodoo spirits. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking awesome. That was so cool. But so the point is that the more that you rally against the machine, like I think that was a song, Rage Against the Machine, right? The more that you try to get even and you're like, okay, eye for an eye, okay, get it. It's biblical. I understand. However, what people are not recognizing is that spirits got you. Like they're your guides, your ancestors, my guys, like they're they're all working on your behalf. So like when you're feeling like, Jesus Christ, like this horrible situation, it's not working, it's not that. Trust me, it is. However, what Spirit has said to me many times, what I've seen many times in my own life, you got to clean up your side of the street. Okay, that's an old AA saying, okay? I'm a recovering alcoholic, okay? Like I have no problem with saying it to anybody. It'll be 4 years sobriety in May. Okay, I'm so fucking proud of myself. You know, my entire life changed in an amazing, beautiful way, you know, when I quit drinking, because I know that, you know, when I was having my issues with that, you know, all kinds of shit was happening and stuff that you don't even see behind the scenes. It's like, you know, you go over and you have a fight with this person, then this person goes and strikes back, then this person over here gets involved, and before you know it, you've got a fucking shit show. And let's face it, like, you can't take shit back. Once it's, what do they say, like, once the doors are open, the cows come out, something like that. Just got an image of Papa Zaka in my head, haha. But Spirit wants you also to work on your own behalf, meaning that, okay, here comes another car. Okay. I was hoping he had like a skeleton on the back of his car. I'd be like, yeah, Papa, get here, what's up? But meaning that, like, when you deal with your own tragedy, like your own crap, your own, you know, egotism, your own defense mechanisms of saying like, okay, you know what? I shouldn't have flipped out like that. When you work hard and you stop and you say, what is the best thing for me to do? Like when you don't just knee-jerk react, okay? God is there. God is in the details. Okay, so I don't really know where I was kind of going with this, but Spirit wants to see your own effort. Like, don't yell and scream about, poor me, poor me. Don't play the victim. Okay, you know the 10 of Swords card, like anybody who does tarot or they read tarot, 10 of Swords card is a dude who's laying in the street, face down, and he's got 10 swords buried in his back. That's the victim card, okay? But it's also the card of this is the end of the cycle. Stand up, take the swords out your back, stand tall, and stand proud. Be the best person that you can be, even if every fucking person and their mother is out there giving you shit, even if the world is just hanging you out to drip dry. Look at Job, Prophet Job. Can't believe I'm quoting that. Look at the shit that dude went through. Okay, and you know, he ended up a very, very rich man. So Spirit's message today, here comes yet another car. I've never seen so many cars. Anyway, I've never seen so many cars. Spirit's message today is stop blaming others, take responsibility for your own shit, and recognize that everything that happens to you is a spiritual lesson. It is a spiritual milestone. Okay, you know, I had to stop making excuses for people. I had to stop making excuses for myself about every time I fucked up. You know, when I was drinking or when I was just being an ass, you know, or anything. Like, I had to stop making excuses and say, you know what, that shit's not right. I have to get right with God. Okay, and that's what Spirit's message is today, is it's the easiest thing to do is to just blame everybody else. You know, well, I wouldn't have done that if that hadn't happened. Well, they did this, whatever. You know what? Like, it doesn't, as pissy as it is, and trust me, I'm part Ukrainian. Like, I have a temper. Like, I do. But Spirit will see, like, if you humble yourself before God and you say, please help me, like, help me see, like, the best way to handle this and bring me the outcome that I desire, that I deserve, because people are getting fired. They're getting, like, I have another friend that's in a legal situation with her work. It's so shitty. Like, but you can only control your own attitude and your own vibe and your own actions. Be willing to stand up and say, you know what? I really have an issue, you know, with letting people get away with shit. I have an issue with codependence. I have an issue with, you know, blaming people. I have an issue with not taking responsibility for my own actions, because Spirit's word for today is accountability. Like, it's not gonna kill you to say, you know what, like, I'm sorry, like, I shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. That's an adult. That's a grown adult. Like, it's not someone getting in Twitter wars or Facebook wars or whatever the fuck. That's an adult. okay? And it's honestly, and I can tell you this from personal experience, it's so freeing to be able to say, you know what, I'm really sorry, please forgive me. You hear that? It just would be, yeah, please forgive me. And, you know, to say like, I'm working on this shit, because that is God. Like they always say like spiritual progress, not perfection. That is God purifying your spirit. And I can guarantee you this, the higher that you let go and you say to God, or they say like you prostrate yourself before God, the more you say to God, like, please forgive me because I am imperfect and I've had so many troubles, and please, Lord God, lead me to a better way. Your life and your world will open up. It will open up. I mean, like today, you know, March 16th, 2022. I'm happy with my life. Like, I'm going to Punta Cana for my birthday. I'm going to be 53 years old. And and not to say that I don't have pissy days, because I do. But I can say to you, like, when you finally let go of the finger pointing, the blaming, you know, the guilt and the shaming, and you just say, you know what, let me just own this shit and help me, Lord Jesus. Boom. That's all it takes. So that is the message. That is the lesson of the sweet gum. Again, like I said, see how many of them fell down? They're these little beautiful guys. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, I made an oil of them, and I actually have like sweet gum water is one of the basis of my spiritual perfumes, because it's fabulous. It has like a really pretty like vanilla like scent, and it's absolutely one of my favorite trees. It's highly protective. So God bless you. Thank you for listening to me. Ayubobo, have a beautiful day, and bless you always. Amen.